Hi guys, welcome to my knitting podcast. My name is Mandy and you can find me on the internet as Mandy Von Knits on Instagram and Ravelry. I am a 40-year-old woman. I live here in southeastern Michigan and I live here with my husband and my 2 kiddos. This is my knitting podcast and I love to talk about knitting and crocheting and machine knitting and patterns. So if that sounds like something that could be interesting to you, please stick around. I would love to have you. Okay, we have an interesting variety of stuff to talk about today. So let's kind of get right to it. First off, I am going to draw a winner for last week's digital prize pattern. And if you are new here, welcome first of all. I'm happy that you're here. I give away a digital prize pattern. It's generally off Ravelry, but if you don't use Ravelry, if you win, just let me know and we can look for a different payment platform. But it's generally off Ravelry, and there are 2 rules. The only 2 rules are that the pattern prize has to be 15 USD or under, and the second rule is that you can only win once a month. And I just do that to make it even for everybody. So the way that you enter is you leave a comment down below, and then next week when I'm drawing for a winner, I'll pop in the link on a YouTube random comment picker and it will spit out a winner. And that's what I did for this week, and I am going to leave a blank spot right here. And if that was you, reach out to me on either Instagram or Ravelry as Mandy Von Knits and let me know what pattern that you want. I will be happy to gift that out to you. Okay, all of the admin is done. I like getting things off to a fresh, clean start. So let's talk about the last week and the crafting that I've done this week and kind of what's been going on. So first of all, if you're new here, you should know that I have been trying to use up some of my acrylic yarn stash. Just kind of finding uses for yarn that I haven't had uses for before. And I have been knitting them into machine knit hats. So this is the first one I am going to show you. And that is a crazy looking pooling, isn't it? Now, this yarn is from Herrschners. It is their Neon Lights yarn. And this yarn is just a tiny bit thinner than the next one I'm going to show you, which is also Herrschners Worsted 8. So both of these yarns are Worsted 8, but this one does not have the glitter thread that the other one will. And can you guys imagine this with like glitter? That would be almost too much. I don't know. I really do. I appreciate this yarn line with the bright lights. I don't know if you guys have seen them, but Premier Yarns has like these, what are they? They're cakes. I think they're sweet rolls, and they have Sweet Roll Vivid. I think that's it. And they're neon, and every time I see those, I'm like, I would just love to make a blanket or something out of them, because the neon colors are just so nice, and some of the colorways that they have there, just, I love. I don't know if I could do a blanket with this, although thinking about it, I kind of think I could. I would take a yarn like this and a completely black solid yarn and kind of use it to tone it down a little bit. So that way it could be very fun and exciting, but also, you know, not too much. But anyways, this is one of the machine knit hats I made. And I knit these, well, I machine knit these on my Addy King Size Express. I think that's the full name. And I can't even remember how many needles it has on it. But I love making these, and they fit, I don't know. I would go as far as saying, oh, I have to take my hair out. I don't want to. So they won't fit on me with, well, they do kind of, but they're very tight. Oh, this would make a terrible thumbnail, wouldn't it? So you can kind of see, I also have a hair clip in, guys, so maybe if I don't do that. That's not too bad. It's kind of tight. If I took the clip off, which I'm not gonna do because I'll mess up my hair, it would fit a lot better, I think. But I kind of like it. I think it's cute. But I make these and I make them for donations, but my daughter has this one earmarked to go to her, so this one will be going to her, rest assured. And I love the way that this yarn pulls. And it's so interesting to see. You can see where I stop, right? Where I'm like, okay, I need a break from machine knitting, and then pick back up. You can almost gauge how the stretches I do as I'm machine knitting, because the gauge will change. Or something stops me, a kid comes along and oh look, or I'm stressed out here and I'm pulling the yarn tighter and it's pooling differently. I think that is a map, a visual map of how I'm feeling almost. So let's take a look at this side. That's even more crazy. Wow. It's almost like, I don't know, like the tape got stuck in a VCR. Okay, that's that one. And then this one is another one of the Herrschners Halloween yarns. So this is Halloween Sparkle or Holiday Sparkle. Technically, they're the same, except one is more geared towards holidays and this one is strictly Halloween yarns. But the fiber content, the length, everything is all the same. But I like these colors. Just some cute hats. And one ball will get 3 hats, I found, for both this one and the neon lights over here. The neon lights and the Halloween or Holiday Sparkle, their fiber content is different because of the glitter and stuff. So just keep that in mind. And if I had to wager a bet, I would bet on the neon lights for knitting up better in the knitting machine. I have a little bit of trouble with both of them, but I have a lot more trouble with the glitter yarn than the neon lights. That one's almost smooth sailing, except for every once in a while I'll get a caught stitch. Okay, so let's talk about the knitting this week and crochet. I've been working on, so I started getting to the point where I'm like, wow, I have a lot of projects, you know, just up in the air going at once. And I'm not that type of creator. Is that what I want to say? My mind is screaming, I'm not that type of creationist, but that's completely the wrong word. So it's not that. I'm not that type of, I don't get inspired that way. So I know that some people don't, they actually thrive on having all sorts of projects they can have up in the air all at once. But I'm more of like I like to focus on certain things. So right now, in no particular order, I have the Tunisian crochet shawl, which I am very far behind on because of our vacations. Yeah, I'm gonna blame vacation. Because of our vacations. So I need to pick that up and get caught up. It is a crochet shawl and it is held. It is I am tongue-tied today. It is a crochet along hosted by Around the Table Yarns, and every month you do a section or 2. So I mean, very far behind is maybe like 2 or 3 months maybe. So theoretically I could get caught up pretty easy, but it's just the rows have gotten so long. And I don't know if you guys know this, if you're familiar with Tunisian crochet or not, but like every row is one this way and one that way. So it's like double the amount of crocheting. And what else am I gonna say to justify the fact I haven't picked it up yet? I don't know. I need to remember that whenever I'm looking at stuff. So I have the Tunisian crochet shawl. I have my Corbis, which I've completely just forgotten about, apparently. And I have 2 muscle burrows, which are pretty much almost done, except for like the decreases. Maybe like this much more straight knitting, and I just need to do the decreases. And I have my Breton crochet shawl, my daughter's colorwork sweater, my colorwork sweater, and a new cast on I'm gonna talk about. Yeah, a new cast on, because what do I do when I'm overwhelmed? I cast on something else and I say, okay, I can't do any of this stuff. I need to clear my head and think of something else. So let's talk about what I've focused on for this week, because even though I have all of those projects up in the air, I haven't really been focusing on very much. So I did the machine knitting, and I did four of the hats total. So I did 3 of these, and I did the neon stripes. I can still make the 2 other neon striped hats, but I just didn't get to it this week. I'll talk a little bit more about that in life stuff, but the main thing that I had really wanted to focus on is getting this button band done. And the reason I want to get this done is because I really want to block this as it is now before I do any of the color work on the sleeves. So this is the Sock Arms Cardigan, and it's kind of in a weird position here. I've picked up the button band and I've done twisted ribbing. It's curling. I've done twisted ribbing around the edging of basically the whole thing. And that's what I spent a good portion of my time on this week. No, I'm not going to get it on because I have the needles locked. Last week I tried this on and it worked fine. I had to pick up some stitches, which is okay. Fair enough. I mean, they're just straight stockinette sleeves at this point, so it doesn't really matter if I have to pick them up. So let me see. It's a little bit easier to show it if I do it like this, kind of. So I have the button band and it just goes down. And at one point I was thinking I am going to make the button band as long as this ribbing down here. And then I noped out of that. And why did I do that? Because I didn't think that that having a button band this thick was going to look right. And honestly, I'm not even sure. Well, I guess it's not that thick. I think it'll be okay. But this is what I have. And what's next for this? So I am going to block this. I'll put the sleeves on waste yarn and block this probably tonight because I want to get it all laid out and everything looking okay. Sorry, it's still really awkward to try this on because I have the sleeves on 9-inch cords, so it doesn't like to go up too far on my arm. And I don't think I can try it on all at once. But you should be able to tell. Hang on. Oh, this cord is even smaller. What am I doing, Mandy? So you should be no, you're not going to be able to tell. It doesn't bend. Okay, I'm noping out of that. So I guess I can show you this way, the normal way. So you'll be able to tell that this sleeve is a little bit shorter, probably like this much from the one over here, which is, I mean, fine. I am planning on blocking this, and I really want to kind of have it lay flat, have all of the stitches relax before I pick up and start working on the sleeves, which will be all over color work. Now, before I pick up and work on the sleeves or do anything else, the first thing I'm going to do is make sure these are on waste yarns and kind of try it on properly, just to make sure that I like the way it blocks out and I like everything about it, because there's no way I want to put in all the effort to make the sleeves. And I'll put up a picture of the sock color work that I am going to put on each sleeve. There's no way I want to go through all that effort until like I actually make sure I like the base of the sweater. So those are my plans for this sweater. We'll see how it goes. We'll see. We'll have to make sure that I like the fit, that I like everything about it before I go on, because like I said, it's not gonna be a good thing if I waste all that time doing that. So let me close up these stitch markers because I can just see them falling on the floor, and they are like these right here. So they are the light bulb stitch markers, and I don't want them to fall on the floor open. Somebody would be very mad if that happened and they happen to step on it. Okay, so the other thing that I have been spending quite a bit of time on is my Breton. Now this is a crochet cardigan, and I have been having a lot of fun with this. This is a crochet cardigan, and it is done in modern linen. So it is a mesh cardigan, and let me see. This is how it looks. Now, last week, I don't even honestly remember what I had last week. I don't think I had much of the back or much of the fronts done. But, sorry, it's kind of like there. So, this is what I have done, and what is next? So, the pattern says that it wants you to crochet the sleeves flat, which I started to do, and then after the sleeves are crocheted flat, it wants you to sew the shoulder seams and then sew in the shoulders, or not shoulders, the sleeves, which is fine, I guess. I left my ends loose here so that I could undo this and kind of, I don't know, so I can ease the sleeves in a little bit more. But the sleeves are flat. They're just a tube. As far as I can tell, as far as I've noticed, you basically just cast on an amount of stitches and then work this pattern for like so many inches, which, by the way, is probably going to be too many inches for me. I'm going to have to take a look and watch that, because I know that whenever patterns start from up here, up at the shoulder, they tend to want like 20 inches, and that's a little bit too much for me. I think I like maybe 16-ish, so it's right, especially for something like this, which is meant to be, at least mine, a little bit oversized. So we'll just have to see. I really like this pattern, and I like the yarn. The yarn is a nightmare to untangle though. So I keep getting this yarn tangled. And part of the problem is that I'll be crocheting with a cake, and the cake is fine, and what's coming out of the cake is fine, but all of a sudden I've got like this end, the other end, the inside of it, coming out to like escape, and it weaves itself around the yarn I'm crocheting with to the point where I have both strands of both ends of the yarn cake like wrapped around and tangled, and it's awful. So, and then it takes forever to untangle. So the one thing I recommend if you use this yarn is to figure out a way to keep the cake inside itself, however that may be, because it definitely does not like staying as cake form, if that makes sense. But other than that, I like it. It's not the softest right now, but it's linen. It's not going to be. So this worked up very fast. I would very much consider making another one of these if I like it. I do have some of this modern linen in black, which I think I'm gonna knit with. So it will be interesting. Well, I know how it knits up because I started the Corbis. Do you guys remember? I started the Corbis with this yarn and it was pretty splitty. I found it easier to crochet with, but I still think I'm gonna knit with the black. Oh, knit with the black. Wow. I don't know if that's such a good idea, Mandy. If the yarn's already kind of painful because it keeps splitting, why would I want to knit with black yarn when I could crochet with it and it might be easier? So we'll have to think on that. Just think, but because I did want something knit with this yarn. It is very nice. I love the color. The pink is really pretty, I think. This color is called Hot Gossip, and it is by Barocco. It is modern linen, and I've showed you all of the information for both the pattern and the yarn that I'm using, just in case you guys are interested. I can't wait, and the thing that I like most about this is I am going to take this and toss it in the washer and the dryer and see what happens. So we'll have to see if that's a good idea or a bad idea, and I will definitely let you guys know. I am using my cat bag. I've probably showed you guys this before. It says everything is meows. Okay, I'm not even gonna try to say it, but you guys can read it, right? I will totally screw up the word, but what they really mean is amazing. Okay, I have one more pattern, and this one's new. Now, I was watching Karen from Bobblehead Knits, and she was talking about a crochet, not a crochet along, basically a knit along, and it's one skein September. And she said that Karen from the Recreational Knitting Podcast was hosting it. And I started thinking, like you do, right, that I would really like to participate in this because one skein, I can do one skein, and in the back of my head I was thinking, I was just talking about Joji Locatelli's knit along that she's hosting, her fall knit along she does every year, and how there were these one skein shawls that I really liked, and I signed up to make them, and I wasn't sure which one I wanted to make, and I wasn't sure about much else, but I signed up to make them because I really wanted one of them. So it didn't really matter which one. So I had that in the back of my mind as Karen from Bobblehead Knits was talking about it. So I decided that's what I was gonna do. By the way, if you guys haven't, you should go check out Bobblehead Knits. I love her podcast and I watch it every week. So, okay. Here, this is the pattern that I've picked to make. And I looked at each one that I had, and I looked and looked and looked, and this was a hard decision because in the back of my mind, I was just thinking, okay, which one do I like visually most? Which one do I think I can still do? Because I'm not a lace knitter, and I came up with this one. It's Let Your Heart Unwind by Joji Locatelli, and I'm gonna try to show the picture, But of course I'm gonna put other pictures, much better pictures up in the screen right now. And I'm also going to tell you the yarn that I'm using, which is Miss Bab's 2-ply. And I don't think I've used Miss Bab's 2-ply before, the Yummy. I think that's what it's called. Now I have to check. But I really like it. So here it is. It is Miss Bab's Yummy 2-ply fingering yarn. It is 100% merino superwash. It's 400 yards, 365 meters, and it's around 110 grams. So it's fingering weight. And you'll never guess what color I picked. It is this one. Because of course it is. Are you guys noticing a theme? This yarn is so soft and squishy. Like, after feeling the linen, this is like super soft, like cloud soft. I've never used the yarn before, and I had it, and I had the skein of it, and I decided that I would really like the Let Your Heart Unwind shawl and like to make it with this yarn. Now, that's where my planning went well. So on Monday, last Monday, which was a holiday here for, it was a holiday here in the United States. It was also a holiday in Canada, and I know this because my company also has Canadians working for them. So like, we get to see each other's holidays and stuff, and I always find it really cool when they coincide. But anyways, it was a holiday here, and we had the day off. So we went over my uncle's and I cast on this shawl. Now I have this, and this is section 1. And you can see where section 1 is because I put a little stitch marker here to kind of say, this is the start of the shawl. This is what I have done. And this is basically where it all went well. So this is seed stitch. Which means I had no problems knitting it, and it all went great, and I really like it, and then it went bad. So I was over my uncle's, and I was talking to my aunts, and I'm talking and knitting, and I'm on section 2, and it's like this lace, and it's not very hard lace. She even says in the pattern, what does she say? She says, knitting side-to-side panels of seed stitch offer you moments of bliss as you daydream away until gently transitioning into the next lace section. If you have never tried it before, it could be a very good candidate for your next lace project. Now keep that in mind. I have done lace before. I have done lace before on several sweaters or cardigans, and I'm sitting here knitting this, and I must have taken out the same 7 rows about 8 or 9 times before I gave up. And I'm like, okay, I don't know whose brilliant idea it was to bring a lace project while I'm trying to talk to other people, but it was not very smart. So I took out those 7 or 8 rows for the last time, and I stopped right where it transitioned, and then I didn't pick it up again for the rest of the week until today. Now, just about an hour ago, I started out, and I'm being very picky, right? I'm like, okay, she says I should have this many stitches. So I'm stopping and making sure I have this many stitches. So I knit 2 rows, well, actually it's 4 rows, 2 rows of lace, and I look at my knitting and I notice that something is off. So I'm like, okay, I take out those 2 rows, or 4 rows, and I knit them again. And I look at it and I'm like, okay, my stitch count is off. So I've done this probably a bazillion times. I mean, yeah, 8, 9, 10, almost a bazillion times. And I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna take it out and show them section 1. And then the next time I pick this up, I am grabbing my lightning bulb stitch markers. Why are they called that? Light bulb. You see what my brain does sometimes? I knew it was wrong, and I knew it didn't make any sense. Anyways, we'll talk about in books why lightning is on my mind later. But I basically figured that the next time I pick this up, I'm going to grab my light bulb stitch markers and mark off the repeat. It's like 4 stitches that I somehow keep getting messed up. I know that once I get the pattern down, it'll be fine, and that's generally how it goes, but my mind does weird things until then. But I do like it, and I do love the yarn, and I think it's super soft and squishy, and I really want to work on this. And I like the little lace shawlette. I think that it's really pretty. I think that if I can manage to get it done, because I was talking with my friends, and I did say that I would really like to have this shawl, this little shawl, but I don't know if the lace is going to be too hard. So we'll have to see. It's to be determined. I am going to show you the bag that it's in, because I actually grabbed this. I had my husband grab this from the closet, and my daughter has been trying to steal it from me. But I think that it's perfect for sweater weather. And this is kind of the season that this is perfect for, even though I'd use it, you know, like all the time. But look, this is an Adorn It bag, and you can see right there, but it's little black cats and they're wearing sweaters, and the sweater has a little fish on it. So I thought that it was really cute and perfect. Now, my daughter has been talking about this charm and how much she wants it for like ever. It's a little black cat. Very cute. I love her bags. I do. And I love this bag. Every time I see a new cat bag, I'm like, oh. But I have tried to like just utilize the bags I have. So if you don't see any new bags, that would be why. I'm trying to be very mindful. Okay, I have some patterns to share with you guys. And this week I have been thinking about being very cold because our weather is getting very cold here. All of a sudden it's like September and like pumpkin spice and freezing weather, because it feels like here in Michigan we went from 90 degrees and sunny to like 50 degrees and rainy all in a week. So I have been thinking about being cold, and that's why I'm going to share with you this first pattern, which is Be Your Own Star. Now, this is, okay, they say that this is a shawl, and I agree that it can definitely be a shawl, but when I look at this, I think that it's a blanket. And I think that this would be a very fun, like, baby blanket to give away. And this is on Hobie's website, and it is by K.A.M.E. Crochet. Now, it's a blanket / shawl, so I would say that the yarn weight is pretty flexible, but it says that it's DK weight yarn, and the gauge is 18 stitches in 10 rows is 4 inches in double crochet. Now, the reason that this appeals to me, and I love the crochet blankets that are stars that I make, and I give them as gifts. I use them as cat beds and all sorts of things. But the reason I thought this was cool is that it's the same idea, but I don't know if you can tell or not, but it also has like varied stitches and it looks like there's some lace and texture in there. And I just thought that that would be a different way to kind of switch things up with the different patterns. So it says, this beautifully textured shawl is a great way to express yourself with its unique but modern appearance. And it uses a cake of Hobie Winter Glow, and a cake of Winter Glow solid. Now, I've always wanted to try their Winter Glow yarn, but I never ordered it, and now I regret it because it's just a little bit more difficult with tariffs to get yarn from Hobie right now. So if you're interested in a new blanket pattern and you crochet, I think that that would be a good one. Now, I added this one because as we're talking about being cold, I'm thinking about fun things I could make for my daughter. This is called a Grapevine headband. And it is just a lace headband, and it's knitting, and it's free. Now, it uses a DK weight yarn, which I think will help kind of keep your ears warm. It says the Grapevine headband features a 13-stitch lace panel in the middle, flanked by 2 mirrored 1x1 cables on reverse stockinette background. The pattern is an 8-row repeat. The first and last stitches form an I-cord edging. This makes the edges look neat and prevent them from curling. The cast on and bind off edges are seamed together, forming a decorative twist in the middle. The seam is hidden by the twist and is not visible. So that's cool. They hide the seam with a twist. I really do like that. I think that she would like it too. My daughter recently got her hair cut, and I feel like she would be more apt to wear one of these right now with her hair shorter. So that was fun. And here's another blanket. Now, this is called Step To It by Plum, and this is done in DK weight yarn. Now, this is another crochet blanket, and I really like the way that this one looked. It says Step To It is a unique chevron ripple stitch blanket crocheted diagonally. But that's all been done before, you say. What makes this pattern unique is that it's all one piece. You don't even need to fasten off for the border. Plus, the pattern contains everything you need, no matter what your learning style. Pictures, diagrams of every stitch, full step-by-step video tutorials, classic crochet charts, and good old reliable written patterns, as crystal clear as you've come to expect Plum patterns to be. Now that appeals to me because, the cat appeals to me too, but the description appeals to me because she says that she has written instructions and charted instructions, and I just think that and video tutorials. So I think that that is awesome, and I really like the way that this looked. I like the colors that the samples were in, and I thought that this would be fun to use, to utilize maybe some of like the Advent yarns, right? If you guys are doing Advent, you could look at that. So the next pattern, now I don't know if you guys will like this one. Well, it's like every pattern, right? Some people like them and some people don't, and that's perfectly fine. But this really appealed to me. I really like this. And I don't know if it's because it's knit in a looser gauge or if it's the visual, like how it looks visually, but there was something so pretty about this to me. Now, this is called the William Jumper, and it's worsted yarn plus lace. So it's yarn held together, and the gauge is 9 stitches and 20 rows is 4 inches. So you use a needle size of 15, but look at this. This looks so pretty. Don't know if you can tell. Of course, you'll be able to tell a little bit better from the pictures on the screen. But I just thought that there's something about this sweater that's so comfy and cozy that is perfect for this time of year. You know, just to be able to throw something on over jeans, and this would be perfect. So when I first looked at this jumper, I was admiring the stitches, and I'm like, I think that's brioche. So I read the description, and yeah, it is brioche. It says it's textured half brioche pattern with a wide neckline. The wide body and sleeve hems in smooth half brioche stitch are a highlight of this simple design. The piece is worked using a technique known as raglan from the top with brioche increases. You will cast on stitches for the neckline on a circular needle with the help of a crochet hook. This method creates a beautiful, simple, and particularly stable edge. After the cast on, you will work your sweater entirely in the round with raglan increases for the yoke. Once the increases are finished, you will divide the stitches for the body and the sleeves, then work the body in one piece to the end. That is so pretty. And I love how squishy brioche is. But anyway, if you guys are interested in a sweater that has like the really, what do I want to call it? Like the squish factor, then I think that this one is it. Now, if you want a sweater that has the cute factor, I've got you covered too. So this is a free pattern, and I'm showing you this because it is, I know that a lot of you knit for charity or you knit for your children or grandchildren, and I thought that this one was so cute. This is called the Mini Gansey Sweater, and it is by Lena Skvagerson, and look at how adorable. I saw this one and I just thought that this was really cute and I wanted to share it. This is available for free. It is done in worsted weight yarn, and the gauge is 16 stitches and 22 rows is 4 inches in stockinette. So I have done Lena's patterns before, and they're always well written from what I've seen. So I would really enjoy making this, I think. The sizes are like 2 years to 9 to 10 years. That doesn't really help. So the chest measurements are 25.5 to 33 inches, and the full length is between 14 and 19 inches. So if you guys are looking for an adorable outfit for maybe Christmas, that sweater would be so cute. Like, could you imagine it in a cream? So much fun. Or a cream. I would want to do it in a cream. Or you could kind of just go crazy and pick just a Christmas red. I don't know. You know how I am. I love all the colors, so. Okay. The last patterns that I wanted to show you, I don't even really have a good pictures because I grabbed them off Etsy, and I doubt I can find them on Ravelry because I can never find the actual patterns that I found on Etsy on Ravelry because the Etsy names are generally things that a search engine wants to read, not necessarily a person. So, but I do have a picture for this one. And these are basically Halloween cat gnomes. And Halloween cat gnomes, yes. So I have those two with the witch's hat, but I'm also going to show you a picture of another one. And this was one that I actually got. It's a pink cat gnome with the witch's hat, but it also came with this cauldron. And I thought that those would be super cute to make for Halloween. I love the cat gnomes. I've made them before. I made a set of Christmas cat gnomes for my neighbors across the street because they're cat lovers too. So I figured that, well, let me preface that by saying my daughter was looking at me and she goes, "Do you remember those Christmas cat gnomes?" And this was earlier in the week. And I'm like, "Yeah, of course." And she goes, "Well, do you think you could make some, but for the other holidays too?" So I started thinking about it and I'm like, yeah, it would be kind of neat to have some like Halloween Christmas, or not a Halloween Christmas cat gnome, a Halloween cat gnome and like a Christmas cat gnome, or, you know, just random decorations, shall we say. So the other pattern that I found, and I really like this one and I really want to make this one, is a Halloween house. Now, it is a little miniature house and it's a bucket. So the roof comes off and you can put candy inside. Now, I thought that this would be really cute to have on like a bookshelf. And I was looking at the designer's Etsy store and they have other ones. They have like a gingerbread house and they have like a strawberry house and all sorts of things. So I think that that might be another cute like holiday decoration. And if you wanted to make them for each holiday, you could have like a running theme in your house. You could bring this one out for Christmas and this one out for Halloween. I don't know. That's kind of what I thought with the Christmas cat gnomes as well. So we'll see how it goes. I do believe that I have some crochet cotton somewhere to make the gnomes. I think. We'll have to see. I believe I have a little storage container and on it I said amigurumi yarns, which doesn't technically mean anything, but in Mandy's mind I associate those words with the cotton, the fingering weight cotton that I have. So that's why I kind of labeled it that way. Anyways, that is all of the knitting and crochet stuff that I have to talk about today. I hope that you got some like knitting time or crochet time or any crafting time that you want. I am going to spend the next 5 minutes talking about some books. And if that's not interesting to you, if you could, before you leave, please give this video a thumbs up or hit the subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. Okay, so I have read 2 books this week and I have started on a 3rd book. Now, they are all from Stephen King because I just got into a mood and that's what I wanted to listen to. They're not horror necessarily, so don't think that, but the first book that I read was The Long Walk. And the reason I picked this book is because they have come out, well, they were coming out, now it's out, a movie about The Long Walk. So, it has been released, I think it was released yesterday, but don't quote me on that. It's either really close to coming out or out already. But if you don't know what The Long Walk is about, it is about a future, maybe not even a future, alternate reality. It's about America where every year 100 boys around the age of 18 go on a long walk. And basically they walk until there's only one of them left and the rest have given up or died. Oh, not or died. When they give up, they die. They get shot by military people, I believe. And it's not a very happy book. There's a bunch of symbolism in the book. It is basically a very deep book, and I did like the book. If you don't like ambiguity and you're not big on symbolism, and you don't like books that make you think a whole bunch, you know what I mean. All books make you think, but some books make you kind of be introspective or look at things in a new light, this would be one of those books. So if you're not feeling like a mindful book, a book that has a lot of thinking involved, I wouldn't recommend it. It did end in ambiguity, so if you're not into that, I wouldn't recommend it either. The book kind of makes you frustrated because of how it ends, so it is what it is. The next book that I read, and I don't even know if I ever heard of this one before I saw it on Audible. It's called The Revival. And Stephen King writes horror books, but he also writes like narrative books. And I would consider this less of a horror book and more of a narrative book. And honestly, I would kind of consider The Long Walk the same. It's not horror in the way that there's something that's scary and harming you. The Long Walk is walked by people who have volunteered. I guess I should have mentioned that the winner of The Long Walk gets anything they've ever, like, they leave it kind of out in the open, but basically said anything that they wish. So I wouldn't consider, it's volunteers, so I can't call that horror. But anyways, The Revival is a personal narrative, and it has some supernatural aspects, but it is about the journey of a boy to adulthood, and he meets this pastor when he's a little itty bitty kid, and they have a relationship where they just keep meeting each other throughout the years. And there's something weird about this pastor, ex-pastor now, because as he gets older, he stops being a religious person. And I'm trying not to give away the rest of the story, but if you've read like Dolores Claiborne and you like that, you might like The Revival. There were some spots where it was slow, but I like Stephen King's writing because he has a lot of character building. So if you're into things like that, you might like the book. The last book that I am currently reading is called The Institute. And The Institute is an interesting book. I've been enjoying it so far. It's following this group of kids who have been abducted from their lives that have psychic, supernatural powers of some sort. And it's not very strong supernatural powers, so keep that in mind. It's not like it's the X-Men. It's more like they can close a door with their mind as they walk through it. It's been a good book so far. I'm going to reserve my thoughts on it until I read more of it. But that's what I've been focusing on for my books. It is September, so my hoopla renewed, all of the borrow, so I'm not sure what that means. I have some books in my Audible wish list that I've had in the back of my mind that I really want to look at, so I am going to see where I can find them in different places. But a lot of them are twisty-turny thrillers where, all of a sudden there's a huge plot twist, because I seem to enjoy those a lot more than the other stuff these days. Okay, so other than that, for life stuff, I have not had a very good pain week. We'll just leave it at that. It seems like as the weather's cooling off, the pain is getting worse. And this particular spot on my knee, it has been bothering me a lot. It's nerve related, and I know it is. And the pain is almost like somebody's taking a needle and jamming it in my knee, the top of my knee. And when that happens, I can feel it run all the way up my thigh to my lower back. So with all of that said, I am going to the doctors to see if there's anything that they can do, or just talk about it basically. I am going to see them on the 15th of September to see if there's any options there. But at least for the winter, because the winter time's always kind of rough. But with all of that said, we're keeping on, and the kids are back in school, and that's pretty much it. I am a boring person outside of knitting. So if you could, please give this video a thumbs up or hit the subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. If you are interested in entering and winning for next week's pattern, please leave a comment down below. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching. Bye!